As the roads get slick,
Yeah, that's right. We are continuing to follow along with those road conditions. And, it's important to keep in mind Iowa's move over or slow down law. KTIV's Morgan Jones.
It pertains to anybody, whether that's emergency vehicles, tow truck operators, garbage trucks, even stranded motorists that have hazard lights on the side of the road.
In the state of Iowa, the Move Over Slow Down law requires drivers to get out of the way to vehicles moving slowly, parked, or stranded on the side of the road.
The move over law entails that you must move over, and if you do not have the ability to move over, you have to slow down and proceed with caution past those emergency lights.
As the weather turns cold and snow starts to fall, the roads can become dangerous and accidents can happen. So look out for hazard lights like these as you go along any road.
The cold weather does a lot to vehicles, obviously your weather conditions in general. This law pertains obviously to the entire year, and we just see it a lot more and try and promote the awareness of it a lot more during the wintertime, because that's when we would see the most, especially with accidents and things like that.
Statewide, these signs are posted along major interstates and state entries. The Iowa DOT says if you violate the move over, the fine can top $100 plus and other charges and court costs. But Iowa State Trooper Karen Yaniv says the fine is $278.
Whether we're making traffic stops, I might see 2 to 3 cars just on a 10 to 15 minute traffic stop that fail to move over, and they have plenty of space to do so. They just don't.
By changing lanes or slowing down, you can save lives, avoid a traffic ticket, and prevent the potential loss of your driver's license. In Sioux City, Morgan Jones, KTIV News 4.
Now, every state does have an enacted move over law requiring motorists to change lanes, or if that's not possible, slow down when approaching stopped emergency vehicles. To view the laws for the state of Iowa, South Dakota, and Nebraska, check out the story on KTIV.com.